Um bate-papo com o ator Tim Roth e o diretor Quentin Tarantino. Ele mesmo não lembrava, mas quando era apenas um iniciante, conversou comigo aqui no Metrópolis. E lá se vão 23 anos. This is me, 23 years ago. But I'm interviewing this guy that was starting his career. Quentin Tarantino, 23 years ago, here in São Paulo.
Yes, wow, look at this, you're interviewing Kurt Cobain.
Quentin Tarantino, como é que você conseguiu ser tão bem sucedido no seu primeiro filme?
Well, I guess I just made a good film.
Quentin diz que apenas fez um bom filme. Geralmente 4 ou 5 filmes por ano que são lançados pela indústria independente do cinema causam um certo barulho. Neste ano, seu filme foi um destes. Só que ele não esperava que seu lançamento fosse tão bem sucedido. The most international film here in São Paulo.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Let's start. So let's.
Oh, yeah, no,
That's so funny.
yeah. No, I had such a good time with both Leon and Renata, all right?
Yeah,
at São
Leon
Paulo
and Renata.
Film Festival. We had such a great time. I saw them over the years at different festivals and stuff, and I kept in touch with them. Leon died a couple years ago, and I feel
Yeah.
Renata's persevering and keeping up the festival going on good.
And then you
But we both looked pretty good back then. I think we aged pretty good.
You're all right. You're all right.
I think you're maybe a little better than me.
I'm a little bit older guy nowadays, but I'm very happy because of this meeting after 23 years, and I want to know about you. What has changed in your life? Good things and bad things.
That's a big question. One aspect, off the top of my head, I guess, especially in relation to that, that guy.
That guy.
Yeah, that you interviewed. Oh, here's I will say what I'm going to say, but let me just say one other thing. It's interesting. I'm not that guy anymore.
Yeah.
All right. There's aspects of me that are that guy. But I'm not that guy anymore. But I like that guy.
Yeah.
I really do like
miss
that
him?
guy. I don't miss him because I don't think he's gone that far away. But I do like him, and and some of the things in some of those movies or in some of those scripts that I wrote that don't exist anymore, I like them because that guy wrote them, and I have affection for that guy.
Sure.
And I like the fact that that guy wanted to do a lot of important things, but he only had the faith in himself that he could do them, and nothing was preordained at all. I think that guy would really be proud of this guy to quite a degree. I'm going to talk myself into tears. But one of the things though, that guy though, when you met him, he had hardly ever been anywhere.
Yeah.
I lived for a little bit in Tennessee, but for the most part, I hardly had left Los Angeles County, for that matter. And then that year, when I was on the film festival circuit on Reservoir Dogs, I went from hardly being anywhere to being on 3 different continents in the course of 1 year. I went from seeing movies at the theaters to going to film festivals and seeing all these international movies. A lot of movies that never opened up and I never saw again and never heard from again. I saw about like 8 movies at São Paulo, or almost all of them I never saw ever again. And I met all these international filmmakers. That guy was from Los Angeles, and that was what he knew.
Yeah.
This guy has become a citizen of the world.
A citizen of the world. Yes.
Yeah,
sure.
and that's a big those are important differences.
Yeah. And for you, your relationship, what has changed since that beginning when he was a new director? And
I never felt he was. I mean, we talked about this earlier a little bit, and something I used to say, and I can't remember saying it, which shows how old I am. But when I arrived in Quentin world, he felt like he'd already made at least 2. This is the first one that he got to actually physically make. But he'd been making movies in his head for a long time. He was never a first-time director in my mind.
Yeah.
Not that there's anything wrong with that, by the way. And now I feel that this film, it's I'm the first timer more in this one because I missed a whole chunk of the progression that Quentin went through. So I've come in and seen how it's changed. How he is on set, what you do with the camera, the lens choices, the choice now to do film.
But I mean, there was a big aspect. I mean, a big aspect was on Reservoir Dogs. I'd never really been on a set before.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
You know, Tim had been on quite a few sets.
Yeah.
And he knew when I didn't know what I was doing. He knew when people were effing up on the film, but I wouldn't have enough knowledge to know. Yeah. He would know that, Quentin, you're being too nice. It's not about everybody likes you. You have a job to do, and you need to do it. And if that guy can't do it, he needs to piss off.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
And, he was the veteran in that regards, all right. And he never lorded that over me. He only used it to actually just let me know what's what and what to expect, and it shouldn't be going this way.
Yeah, right.
But he also told me when I was doing the right thing too.
Here are your names: Mr. White, Mr. Blonde, Mr. Pink.
Why am I Mr. Pink?
Who cares what your name is?
Yeah, that's easy for you to say. You're Mr. White. You have a cool-sounding name.
Let's go to work.
Well, I don't know why I came here tonight.
And you realize that the guy of Pulp Fiction was a better director than in the first film.
So you could see. Yeah, I know, but I didn't get into being it that much. So, but in a way, it was. We did it as a short film.
Yeah.
He set up this.
Yeah, the first week of shooting was all the Tim and Amanda stuff.
Yeah.
Everything with Tim and Amanda, the whole. I've never been able to pull that off again, where I shot the end of the movie first. All right, that's never worked out since then, but it worked out on Pulp Fiction because we knew exactly what it was, so we could have actually done that diagram at anyway.
Yeah,
couldn't do that.
But frankly, though, I mean, that actually I think is a change because Pulp Fiction was so set up. It was what it was, that we could have shot it in any order. Now, I don't want things to be that set up. I want there to be more of a learning process as we do it. And we need to sort of do it a bit in, not continuity per se, but we need to know, I don't want to know everything there is to know before we start shooting. I want there to be discovery for both me and for the actors and for the characters.
And there was, I mean, the fact that we are in a space, like we're in one space. Once we're there, right?
Yeah.
And so then it started for us to operate like a play.
Yeah.
It started to be. We were a theatre troupe, and we got to see each other every day, and
once we got into Minnie's Haberdashery, we had to shoot it in order because things could change, and then not just somebody gets shot, but messes could happen. Somebody could break the furniture. This or that could happen. And if we got out of order, then you can't use that stuff, or you have to go reshoot stuff all over again. As the story goes on, they wreck minis more and more as it goes. So that little trail of destruction that happens behind some of the incidences has to be there, as you go on. So thus, you're kind of forced to do it in order.
They had a high-five photo boy, did they let it blast? 700 little records, all rock, rhythm, and jazz. But when the sun went down, the rapid tempo of the music fell. C'est la vie, say the old folks, you go to show you never can tell.
Daqui a pouco tem mais Quentin Tarantino e Tim Roth aqui no Metrópolis. Vamos refrescar a sua memória e mostrar o impacto que o diretor e roteirista causou em Hollywood. Definitivamente, Quentin Tarantino não é um diretor de quantidade. Desde a estreia com Cães de Aluguel, em 1992, são apenas 8 filmes, já contando com Os 8 Odiados, que vai estrear por aqui no dia 7 de janeiro. Com medo de repetir as fórmulas e os conceitos que o consagraram, Tarantino tem dito que vai encerrar a carreira no 10º filme. Será? Hollywood não seria a mesma sem o diretor. Foi em 1992 que Quentin Tarantino despertou a atenção da crítica como diretor e roteirista do violento Cães de Aluguel, apresentado com destaque no Sundance Film Festival. O filme, que tem bandidos tentando descobrir por que um assalto deu errado, transformou Tarantino num cineasta cult. O sucesso fez com que os antigos roteiros ganhassem as telas nas mãos de gente consagrada, como Tony Scott, que fez de Amor a Queima-Roupa um filme de estrada, com Kristen Slater e Patricia Arquette envolvidos com traficantes de drogas. E Oliver Stone, que avançou todos os limites, fazendo do roteiro de Assassinos por Natureza um festival de atrocidades, estrelado por Woody Harrelson e Juliette Lewis. De tanto assistir aos filmes B na TV e na locadora de vídeo onde trabalhava, Tarantino decidiu unir a violência a uma narrativa não linear em Pulp Fiction, Tempo de Violência. O filme e a trilha sonora agradaram a crítica e renderam mais de 200 milhões de dólares. Ganhou a Palma de Ouro em Cannes, recebeu 7 indicações ao Oscar, ganhou 1 por melhor roteiro original e marcou o renascimento da carreira de John Travolta como o bandido que protege a personagem de Uma Thurman. Em 95, o diretor convidou o amigo Robert Rodrigues, de El Mariachi, para cuidar de um dos episódios de Grande Hotel, uma comédia 5 estrelas. E Tarantino dirigiu a 4ª e última parte. No ano seguinte, ele convidou o mesmo Robert Rodrigues para a direção de Um Drink no Inferno, um trash que vai do suspense de estrada ao puro terror. O roteiro é do próprio Tarantino, que também atua ao lado de George Clooney. Eles vivem 2 assaltantes em fuga para o México que param num bar comandado por vampiros.
Jackie Brown.
Com Jack Brown, o diretor resgatou a beleza de Pam Grier, dos filmes de ação dos anos 70, e o talento de Robert Foster numa trama que também tem no elenco Samuel L. Jackson. Pam é Jack Brown, uma aeromoça às voltas com lavagem de dinheiro. E até Bridget Fonda aparece no papel de uma mulher de malandro. O filme, que se pagou logo após a estreia, tem 3 horas de duração. Em Kill Bill, o cineasta assina o roteiro com a atriz Uma Thurman, que também vive a protagonista do longa, filmado de uma só vez e exibido em 2 partes. Na trama, a personagem busca por vingança ao som da trilha sonora concebida por Robert Rodrigues. Em 2005, a parceria com um amigo continuou, com Tarantino dirigindo uma das cenas do filme Sin City, A Cidade do Pecado, adaptação que Robert Rodrigues fez da série policial em quadrinhos de Frank Miller. A sequência traz os personagens de Benício Del Toro e Clive Owen conversando dentro de um carro em alta velocidade. Em A Prova de Morte, as características que consagraram o trabalho do cineasta. Cenas de ação, diálogos afiados e trilha construída a partir de clássicos da música pop. Na história, um assassino misógino, interpretado por Kurt Russell, usa seu carro para matar as vítimas. Na França ocupada, um grupo de soldados de origem judaica tem como objetivo matar o maior número possível de nazistas. Bastardos Inglórios tem no elenco Brad Pitt, Melanie Laurent e Christopher Waltz, que ganhou o Oscar de melhor ator coadjuvante em 2010.
My hands, to be exact. On one hand, I despise slavery. On the other hand, I need your help if you're not...
E em 2013, novo Oscar pela atuação em Django Livre. O filme também deu a Tarantino a segunda estatueta de melhor roteiro original. Em tom de faroeste, um escravo liberto sai em busca da esposa que vive sob tutela do fazendeiro, interpretado por Leonardo DiCaprio. Agora Tarantino volta ao Velho Oeste com Os Oito Odiados, filme inspirado em clássicos do gênero, que é uma das maiores influências para o diretor.
Got room for one more?
E esse é Quentin Tarantino, que me recebeu com muita simpatia ao lado do ator Tim Roth para promover Os Oito Odiados. E é sobre esse filme que falamos agora. Um western com elementos clássicos, adicionando todas as influências do diretor.
The Hateful Eight. Let's talk about it. André Bazin, you know, the French critic that was the principal critic in the Cahiers du Cinéma. He told that the Western is the North American film for excellence. And Clint Eastwood says that Western is as original for American as jazz.
Yeah.
What do you think about it?
Oh, I've always loved westerns, all right, and I think leading into, I think a case could be made that maybe not that all my movies were westerns before I actually started making westerns, but there was western elements to them. I always felt that in the case of the black suits in Reservoir Dogs and Pulp Fiction, were on one hand they were a throwback to like the Jean-Pierre Melville trench coats, but also to the spaghetti western dusters. It's like those were the suits of armor that those knights wore, and then my knights wore these black suits. But there was a tip of the hat to almost like a rock and roll spaghetti western vibe in both Reservoir Dogs and Pulp Fiction, and in particularly in the case of Inglourious Basterds, that was made to be a World War II movie, but shot with spaghetti western iconography, just using World War II iconography as a substitute. But also, one of the things about westerns that I think are so neat is no other American genre, more than horror films, more than a lot of other things, reflects the decade which they were made, without commenting directly on it, but they cannot help but be reflected by the decade that they're made. Just as an example, when westerns were probably their most popular was the 50s. And those westerns reflected an Eisenhower ideal. They reflected an American exceptionalism. We had won World War II. We were very, very proud of ourselves. The general of World War II was the president at that time. And it reflected this, white people winning the West, and town tamers and law and order and that aspect of it. But going in from the late 60s into the early 70s, those westerns with the spaghetti westerns and even the hippie counterculture westerns reflected that ideal breaking down. A questioning of that American exceptionalism, a questioning of the legends that we had accepted ad hoc. In the case of, say, Billy the Kid, Jesse James, or even Wyatt Earp. And then the westerns, the almost nihilistic, cynical westerns that started appearing in the 70s, I think are a further doubling down on that aesthetic, but also even a Watergate aspect of them. And then you can look at the 80s.
Yeah, sure.
Probably the most popular Western of the 80s, with the one that the studios put the most behind, was maybe Silverado. And that actually seems like a Reagan Western, which does seem like the 50s part 2, to some degree or another.
E não terminou, não. Depois do intervalo, continuamos a dobradinha Quentin Tarantino e Tim Roth. Um Metrópolis internacional para você. Até já. A Guerra Civil Norte-Americana acabou. No estado do Wyoming, um grupo de caçadores de recompensas tenta buscar abrigo durante uma nevasca. A partir daí começa uma história de sobrevivência e traição. Essa é a trama de Os Oito Odiados, o novo filme de Quentin Tarantino, que estreia no dia 7 de janeiro. E ninguém melhor que o próprio Tarantino e o ator Tim Roth para falar do filme.
I don't have too much time. I have less than 5 minutes.
I apologize.
and then I have to.
You brought up Andre Bazin. I had to go a pontificate.
Tell me something about your character.
About my character?
Yeah.
That's a tricky one. In one sense, it's the English guy that shows up in a Western. It's the English guy from one of those ones that, you know, and or the Irish guy would have been Richard Harris.
Exactly,
And so the direction that Quentin went to was Terry Thomas and all these wonderful eccentric English actors.
Everybody has a secret.
But, you know, but I do like. Well, there's the English guy aspect of it, absolutely. But there's also the foppish. Character. I mean, one of my favorite aspect about the Zorro legend is the foppish alter ego of Don Diego de la Vega. All right. And how that character invests so much in it. How much is it an affectation, and how much does it become real at a certain point? But in the Zorro, in the good Zorro stories, I always like his foppish alter ego more than I actually do like the daring do of Zorro himself.
And I know that you like Bonanza too, the Genian. Really very important for this film too.
Oh no, very much so. No, absolutely. No, I think this movie was more influenced by the television Western episodes of those TV shows than actual movies itself. If you watch High Chaparral, you watch The Virginian. Rarely was it about the lead characters of the show. It was usually the guest star. The story was about the guest star. If it was Robert Culp, if it was Vic Morrow, if it was Charles Bronson, the story was about them. And they usually came in, they usually had some past, this haunted past that you hear about. And you never quite knew, were they a good guy, were they a bad guy? It was questionable, and you had to watch the whole episode to find out what the deal was. And then I had the idea of taking a bunch of characters like that and trapping them in a room together, but with no Michael Landon, no Doug McClure, no moral center that you can gravitate towards.
Yes. My last question, I have this curiosity because you know a lot of films. If you know this one, Terror in a Texas Town. That was.
Oh yeah, that's the Sterling Hayden one with the harpoon.
The harpoon.
Joseph H. Lewis.
The harpoon.
Oh, Joseph H. Lewis he was pretty much the Martin Scorsese of his day. Joseph H. Lewis was an amazing director.
Amazing. When I saw it the first time, that was released right here. I remembered you. Because of that duo. That's so incredible. The harpoon.
Just one step, just close enough so you can get a fair chance with that meat hook. How about it, Hanson?
That movie was very influential to Spielberg. He actually offered the role of Quint in Jaws to Sterling Hayden because he remembered him with the harpoon in that movie.
Unfortunately, my time is over.
But thank you so much for doing this whole show, all right?
In the name of our friendship for 23 years, and yesterday was my birthday.
Oh, happy birthday!
Well, thank you very much.
Happy birthday,
It's impossible to take pictures.
No, I'll be happy to. No worries.
O cara foi muito legal, super simpático. Tirei uma foto com ele. I got it. Eu consegui.
E o Metrópolis de hoje fica por aqui. Espero que vocês tenham gostado desse presente. Nós voltamos amanhã, véspera de Natal. Até lá!
Got room for one more? They call him the hangman. When the handbill says dead or alive, the rest of us just shoot you in the back, come up on top of a perch somewhere and bring you in dead over a saddle. But when John Roof, the hangman, catches you, you hang.
Get in, boys!
This here is Daisy Domergue. She's wanted dead or alive for murder. When that sun comes out, I'm taking this woman to hang. Is there anybody here committed to stopping me from doing that?
Well, well, well. Looks like Minnie's haberdashery is about to get cozy for the next few days.
Yes, it does. One of them fellas is not what he says he is.
Move a little strange, you're gonna get a bullet. Not a warning, not a question. A bullet.